What the Halle Berry's going on here with altcoins selling off drastically and Bitcoin getting absolutely abused on the short-term timeframes, dropping down to $110,000. In this video, we need to explain what's happening and is this sell-off something to be concerned about as Bitcoin breaks below a key support. So I'm going to talk about this in this video. I explained this in my video yesterday, and those of you that paid close attention did not get wiped out on this move on XRP as well too. That happened to the T is exactly as predicted. So I'm going to make some bold predictions in this video, and it's all because of what I'm spotting with these divergences. And so this is the best strategy that I've seen in my near 10 years of trading crypto. And I'm going to share it with you in this video. So we're going to talk about Bitcoin's dominance. We're going to discuss what's happening on some key indicators here and a topping signal and when that's going to be coming in, so you can be ready for it, and expectations in the short term for XRP. So if you guys are feeling bullish, comment 777. If you're feeling blessed, comment 777. You do not want to miss these predictions based on data that I'm seeing on the chart. So as always, you know what to do. Confirm that you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree by tapping that subscribe button, and let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So this is my third try at recording this video. My microphone, I recorded an entire 20-minute video. Go back to rewatch it. The microphone wasn't turned on. I recorded another one that was 20, 30 minutes. Go back to watch it. The microphone still wasn't connected. So hopefully if you're seeing this video, finally the microphone is working. So I want to kick this video off by inviting you guys, because of how much frustration I had to go through, you at least owe it to us to join our free Discord group, the Bull Runners HQ. We have 125 members. We're going to be sharing some trades in here and potentially going live as well too, showing you guys live trades. For example, on our accelerator program call that I just got off of, that call for some reason didn't get recorded either. So I'm going to do another video. I've literally been here for like 12 hours doing these calls and these videos. This one was 2 hours long. Thankfully, the first one was recorded. You guys can check that out inside of Altcoin Pro through the link below. But on the one that I just did a couple hours ago, we entered into a short on Ethereum, and that trade closed at $940 right here in profit as an example. Again, this is not a guarantee that you guys are going to make money trading, but these strategies work. And if you want to learn more about these strategies, consider joining our Discord. So let's dive right in. Let's talk about Bitcoin, okay? Because Bitcoin is sitting at $110,000. Then we'll get into XRP, we'll get into CHAINLINK, and we'll talk about Total 2 and the rest of the market outlook. So this bearish candle right here is currently below this key zone of support. Now this zone of support goes all the way back here to the 23rd of May. And this is a critical level for Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin cannot reclaim it on the daily and we do not close back above this key level, Bitcoin could trend further to the downside. And the next key support to look for is all the way back at these levels right here for Bitcoin. And so right now, I would not financial advice, obviously, I wouldn't be selling, I wouldn't be buying Bitcoin. I'd be patiently watching for one of two things: a retracement, and then a rejection, and a potential confirmation of a bearish engulfing or some type of candle right here if we sell a reverse back to the upside, or a continuation to the downside within this zone, and looking for bullish divergences. Now I'll explain what that would look like, because a bearish divergence is just the opposite, right? Where we see a higher high on the price chart, we see the lower high on the relative strength index. Simple, right? Now, we've identified the trend. We're in an uptrend for Bitcoin. We've identified the bearish divergence, showing that momentum is shifting from bullish to bearish. Now, how low will the sell-off go before we see a bullish divergence, which is the exact opposite, right? Where we see lower low on the price chart, where we see a potential higher low on the indicator. We're just not there yet. So we're just seeing a potential trend reversal with a lower high in Bitcoin's price chart, a low right here, potential lower low, and then a potential lower high. So what I would be looking for is for Bitcoin to retrace and then continue to the downside, and then form some type of bullish divergence before we break on out of here. Now, if that doesn't happen, we need to watch the daily candle right here. And if this gets aggressively bought back up and closes back above roughly $112,500, like right around here within this range, then we're just going to be looking for a reversal back to the upside, or we're going to see if the price remains weak and does something like this, because then there would be further sell-off to the downside for Bitcoin. So right now, while we're in the middle of this sell-off right here, if we go into lower time frames on, let's say, the 15-minute chart right here, Because we're in a downtrend right here forming lower highs and lower lows, I would want to be looking for a bullish divergence on the 15-minute time frame. As you guys can clearly see, this is the high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, equal low, lower high, now lower low, and inevitably a lower high. And then we're either going to continue the downtrend or we're going to wait for a major trend reversal, which would be flipping of a previous high holding as support. And so that would be right around here, $113,000, right around this level right here, which is a zone of support all the way back here. So that's the level that I would want to watch. Otherwise, this relief rally for Bitcoin could be a failed rally and a continuation to the downside. So really simple. And I talked about this in my previous video yesterday with XRP specifically, because we were seeing this on the hourly chart for Bitcoin. If I just zoom out here on the hourly, I'm going to explain this in more detail for you guys and show you the dates on this, because on XRP's price chart right here, when XRP was forming this higher high on the 24th of August than this high, XRP was forming a lower high on the relative strength index, which was a bearish divergence. So that was a key level to a key thing to look for. And also Bitcoin's price chart right here on the 24th of August was ultimately forming a lower high. So you can see right here, the 24th was a lower high than this high. So Bitcoin's momentum was weak while XRP's momentum was, somewhat strong. So it's showing mixed signals there. But because Bitcoin was weak and XRP was showing a bearish divergence, that's why I was expecting a sell-off and a liquidity flush to the downside. And sure enough, that's exactly what took place. So now what are we expecting for XRP? Well, because we saw a sell-off to the downside and we broke this key support right here, now rallying back into it, and we see another further liquidity flush out back down to these key levels down here, I want to be looking for a bullish divergence. I wouldn't be shorting right here while we're at these zones of support down here within this range. I'd be looking for a potential reversal. Now, in order to see a reversal, what we need to see is we need to see the price chart, form lower low and the indicator form a higher low. And we're just not seeing that happen right now. So this is where patience comes into play. So ultimately, we're going to watch for lower highs now on XRP's price chart and then lower lows like this to sweep out these lows. This is what I would expect for XRP. Once this low comes in, ultimately, I would expect there to be some type of reversal and some type of bounce for XRP after we've formed some type of bullish divergence on the relative strength index. And a bullish divergence, again, opposite a bearish divergence, which is basically a higher low on the price chart and a higher low on the indicator and a lower low on the price chart, something like this, because XRP could not reclaim this key support right here. Again, in my video, I did talk about how we would need to reclaim this support to see a reversal back to the upside, but that just didn't happen. We saw this massive sell-off to the downside. So you need to be fluid and dynamic in these markets. You can't just think one thing is going to happen and you can't change your opinion because, right here, like I talked about this sell-off, but then I also did mention, which I will play, if we see a reversal back to the upside and we reclaim that key support, which we didn't do. So that's where we need to see a reclaiming of support. We didn't see that happen. It didn't do that. So that's where this sell-off right here now allows me to look at the chart today and be more dynamic and fluid rather than emotional about it, because I'm indifferent. I don't care whether it goes up or down. I look at the data that I see on the chart and I look for divergences, and we're not seeing a bullish divergence. We just saw this bearish divergence flip to the downside, and that's how we were able to catch that short on Ethereum as well too. And I could have caught a short on XRP. Ethereum was just a stronger short with Ethereum's bounce and retracement before selling off to the downside. So regardless of the sell-off for XRP, there's good news happening. So this is why, on the contrary, you don't want to just buy into good news here. For example, Gemini just dropped their XRP card where you can get up to 4% cash back in XRP instantly. No waiting, no stacking. You just basically use the card, you get cash back. And so that's good news, but yet the price is selling off on top of this. Plus, Ripple is currently building an Oracle to query data from existing bank ledgers. Chainlink isn't the only one in the Oracle game. And so you see this news happen, so you're like, oh, I'm going to buy into it, but then you don't learn to look at charts, and then you get flushed out, and you buy at $3, now we're at $2.86. You want to look for what I'm sharing with you in these videos. So looking at Chainlink's chart, before we do that, let's talk about what's happening with Chainlink, because this is even more bullish news for Chainlink. But yet, if you look at Chainlink's chart, Chainlink is selling off from $26 to $23. So is the sell-off over? Is the bull market over? We'll pay attention. I'll share with you my prediction for by the end of this year. So Chainlink said, we're excited to announce a strategic partnership between Link and SBI Group, one of Japan's largest financial conglomerates, with the US dollar equivalent of over $200 billion in total assets. Now, as you guys know, SBI Group is also partnered with who? Ripple. So SBI Group and Chainlink will focus on powering several innovative use cases centered around tokenized funds, tokenized real-world assets such as real estate and bonds, regulated stablecoins, and more. SBI Group and Japanese financial services companies will leverage Chainlink services, including the cross-chain interoperability protocol, CCIP, smart data nav, and proof of reserve to unlock secondary market liquidity, enhance the operational efficiency of tokenized assets while seamlessly fulfilling compliance and privacy requirements. So Yoshitaka Kitao, Representative Director, Chairman, President, and CEO of SBI Holdings, the guy who also is extremely bullish on XRP, by the way, and said that every bank in Japan will be using XRP in 2025. Well, here's what he said about Chainlink. Chainlink is a natural partner for SBI, complementing our financial footprint with the market-leading interoperability and reliability on-chain. With our combined strengths, we are delighted to be working together on developing groundbreaking, secure, compliant-focused solutions, including powering compliant cross-border transactions using stablecoins that accelerate this widespread adoption of digital assets in Japan and the region. Chainlink, UBS Asset Management, and SBI Digital Markets previously completed a solution for automated fund administration and transfer agencies using smart contracts under the Monetary Authority of Singapore's Project Guardian. So, bullish news, right? For both Chainlink, for XRP, but yet Chainlink's selling off because when the tides rise, so do all ships. When the tides retreat, so do all ships. So, what's happening with Chainlink? Well, we can see we broke this uptrend right here. We saw higher highs, higher lows, and we see these key levels of support broke. This one right here broke. We're currently attempting to reclaim and hold on to this level of support, but the momentum is in favor of the bears right now. So what I would expect here is, because we've seen this bearish divergence play out on Chainlink's price chart right here, as you can see, look at the relative strength index, lower high, whereas Chainlink formed higher high right here. And now we're seeing a break of structure. There's some potential short opportunities on these retracements here for Chainlink. Now, what I would want to see is Chainlink bounce to the upside at some point. Now, depending on when that happens, we don't know. Like it could do something like this, and we could see a further sell-off to the downside. And then that's why we look for bullish divergences before we consider longing Chainlink, because momentum could continuously bleed out for Chainlink, and you're just catching a falling knife at this point. You want to watch for these bullish divergences and then look for confirmation when we see some type of trend reversal and change to the upside based on these key levels all the way back here. So in my opinion, not just my opinion, but based on the data right here, we can see that Chainlink is in a downtrend, obviously, right? So we're seeing lower high than this high right here. We're also seeing a lower low. So if we see a bounce from here, I would just expect it to be a lower high, some type of retracement for another sell-off. Now, if that sell-off is further to the downside, then I would want to see something like this happen on the relative strength index before I get clarity that Chainlink's sell-off in this now downtrend is done, and then we look for some type of price reversal to go higher towards the end of this year. So this is what I would want to be looking for on Chainlink's price chart. Just like I talked about on XRP's price chart, with this sell-off, well, we now need to see XRP bottom out before we see some type of reversal back to the upside. And we would look for a bullish divergence where the price chart makes a lower low and then the RSI starts making a higher low before we inevitably see a bounce at some point. So this is why you don't want to be aggressively bullish on this first sell-off right here, just because the relative strength index is in oversold conditions down here, because this can remain oversold for a long period of time doing something like this before we eventually see a reversal back to the upside. And I explained this in our accelerator call. If you guys missed that call, definitely tune into it, the replay. And if you aren't an accelerator client, you just got to get on the wait list by going to accelerator.altcoinpro.com. We only allowed 30 people in, and you have to apply now to even get on the list. We're not accepting anybody else right now, and we can't guarantee that we're going to accept anybody anytime soon. It might be a few months from right now. We'll let you know, because this is more hands-on training, more hands-on coaching, and more personalized information to give you guys more details than what you're just watching here on YouTube, and answering your questions as well too, because I can't answer your questions on a pre-recorded YouTube video. So go put in your name, email, phone number, get on the wait list, and you'll be at the back of the line, because this line continuously fills up every single day. So it's going to be first come, first serve. When we open the doors for more, we might allow another 5 people. We might allow 10 people. We don't know. It's dependent on how many we can onboard. So it's real scarcity there, because we want to provide the best experience as possible. But for those of you guys that are in there, go check out the recording. So for those of you that were on live, if you missed the accelerator call, I'm going to do another one. But in the meantime, for those of you guys that do want to get more value, plug in with the Discord. We got 125 members here. I want to grow this to over 10,000 by the end of September. And so go join this group. It's free. We're probably going to be posting some signals in there for you guys on our live trades. For example, some of these trades I was doing on the call, one of them was an Ethereum short, $926 right here. And that was based on what I shared with you guys the other day, because Ethereum was forming a bearish divergence, and a good reversal signal was when we broke below this key support right here and we retraced back into it and then continued to the downside. It was a great short. So it's the same thing for XRP. Now, XRP didn't retrace as high as Ethereum, but nonetheless, it continued to the downside. So what we're looking for Chainlink here is eventually some type of retracement back to the upside. I would expect it to bounce at some point. Now, we'll see how high that bounce is before we see another sell-off to the downside. And we'll revisit this chart in like 24 to 48 hours from right now. But looking at Bitcoin's dominance is bouncing a little bit from 57 to 58%. And so I would expect there to be, some little retracement bounces in Bitcoin's dominance as we continue this downtrend right here, as we're falling and coming back down closer to 55% for Bitcoin's dominance. And then we see much bigger bounces, until we see the inevitable drastic breakdown into alt season. Because looking at Total 2's chart right now, if I zoom out here and get rid of some of my chicken scratch from my previous video here, we can see that we are in this massive cup here. Now, the handle is not really that prominent yet. We're getting rejected from this key resistance that we were at back here in December of 2024. We're getting rejected a second time for a double top. Potentially we see further sell-off to the downside, and then we start the reversal process on out of here in this cup before we continue higher towards the end of this year. And so this might be what's happening right now. We'll see here. We just need to break this, side of the cup here and start forming the handle. And if that were to take place, you just have to be prepared for this, because a lot of people start longing the market right at a major resistance, and they don't wait for confirmation for these patterns to play out. And so I would want to see something like this happen before we trade higher. I'd want to see the handle form, or I'd want to see us just clear resistance, hold it as support like this very clearly before we go higher. Otherwise, it's just too iffy right now for Total 2 because of this rejection from the previous high. And right now, we're right here at 50 on the relative strength index. And so, sometimes 50 can act as a major support in an uptrend, but because this aggressive sell-off right here, I want to see us claim the all-time high and hold it as support before I get aggressively long on any altcoins. And Bitcoin's dominance, is bouncing back to the upside right now, although I do think we're just inevitably just going to roll over and drop even further on Bitcoin's dominance. Nonetheless, this is going to take a little time to play out for altcoins. And what TechDev posted here is really key, because it's not just the tops. Every bear market has ended precisely as red turns to green on the business cycle indicator right here. Every ramp has lasted as long as the bars were green. Every hockey stick parabola to the top has been marked by flipping red. It's not the halving. And yes, every top has been marked by a peak in red. The business cycle's dynamics are all that's been needed to understand Bitcoin's dynamics. And all he sees is this cycle is so different. Cycle is almost over. We're going into a super cycle. But what's actually different is green has been much longer, and thus the ramp has been longer. That's all. Red hasn't even started, so it doesn't seem like most will be here when it does. People are getting shaken out of the market, and it is a little bit extended, and people are getting frustrated. They're getting impatient, but that's the goal. They want to shake people out of the market so that way they can accumulate everything. And if we look at this indicator right here from Immortal Crypto, it combines 20 on-chain top signals into a colored chart. So we got blue, brown, orange, yellow, pink, and red. So right now we are still in brown. And if we look at the past cycles, we can see what happened when we went from brown to then orange, inevitably red, and like pink was when the top was in. So we're not there yet based on 20 combined on-chain top signals. So I'd actually be curious to know, like, what are those 20 on-chain signals? If they're not flashing right now, that's a good sign that we still have higher to go, even with this short-term sell-off for XRP, for CHAINLINK. Looking at XRP right now, there's these key levels of support that we're watching to the downside. And ultimately, you know, if these break, it could get nasty for XRP really quick and then get really bullish for XRP because we're still in a macro uptrend. So right now, these levels right here is where I would want to look to, you know, enter in some limit long positions for XRP, because at some point we're going to bounce from this short-term downtrend. You can see we're seeing just lower highs right here. At one of these levels, we're going to see the price react to and respond and bounce from. So right now on the 4-hour, the RSI is at 35. That's why I think momentum is in favor of the bears right now. And I'm just waiting for some type of bullish divergence before we see a reversal here, where we see lower lows on the price chart and a higher low on the RSI. So I do think the RSI might need to reset down here at 30 or below 30 before that takes place. And we don't know how aggressive that sell-off and that liquidity flush will be for XRP. So just like I talked about in previous videos, this is the level that we're watching right here at like $2.65. If that happens, I want to see a V-shaped recovery really quick. Otherwise, like, this could be drawn out a little bit longer, you know, and how long this takes. So right now, short-term bearish, still bullish towards the end of this year, just because we haven't hit these topping indicators. But our research team is going to be watching the market 24/7 and providing real-time live updates for you guys inside of Altcoin Pro. And if you want to see what altcoins our team is the most bullish on for when we see that great rotation from Total 2 to others, and inevitably others comes back up to catch up to Total 2, going back to $450 billion, they're going to share those with you inside of Altcoin Pro. For example, our research team posted GOAT on the 13th of October of 2024 when it was right at a penny, and since then it rallied to over $1, 5,000%. That's like turning $1,000 into over $50,000. Our team called Pendle at only a $16 million market cap, or 16 cents, back on February 18th of 2023, all the way back here, and since then it's rallied up over 4,000%. That's a 40x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $40,000. Our team also called BitTensor Tau September 15th, 2022, before the token was ever even launched. And since then, Tau has rallied over 2,000%. That's a 20x. Our team even said Solana is most likely to be one of the easiest trades next year, and this was posted December 29th, 2022, on the day that Solana bottomed out at around $8. And since then, Solana looks like it's up over 2,500%. That's a 25x. It's like turning $1,000 into over $25,000. The list goes on and on and on. Our team called Sui, Ondo, and even some of the biggest cult-based meme coins like MOG back in July 20th of 2023, the day that MOG launched. So if you want to learn how our team is finding these altcoins before they explode, we just launched Altcoin Pro University, where our research team gives you real-time altcoin picks with explosive potential for this bull run, along with 100+ expert curated classes crafted by industry experts to discover these gems yourself, on top of our live weekly calls every single week for in-depth crypto market analysis and daily updates. And that's just a fraction of what we offer inside of Altcoin Pro University through the link below. And although we make no guarantees because crypto is definitely risky, guys, this is only $97 a month or $970 a year. If you want to save $194, getting 2 months for free and unlock some exclusive bonuses, just go through the link in the description below, get in right now, watch the 26-minute video covering everything that Altcoin Pro University offers to help you become the first millionaire in your family tree, if that's a goal of yours. And you can get started through the link in the description below right now, or you can go to bullrunners.com to take advantage of the bonuses we're giving you before they expire. Everyone is loving the community. They're loving the education. They're getting access to real-time altcoin picks first before we ever make videos about them. So click the link in the description below, watch the video, and I'll see you on the inside.